Can you believe this? Day after day, the news just keeps piling up. And now we have Trump backing Kash Patel after reports that he even considered firing the FBI director. Think about that for a second. The FBI, an institution that's supposed to operate independently, that's supposed to stand above political games, is suddenly being dragged into yet another circus. And it's not subtle. No, it's in your face, headline grabbing chaos. People in this country are expected to trust that the institutions protecting our laws and our democracy are actually independent, and yet here we are. One report, one consideration by the president, and suddenly the integrity of an entire federal agency is called into question. How is this okay? How does anyone justify this? I'm angry because it's not just politics, it's reckless. This is about power, plain and simple. The moment a leader even thinks about ousting someone at the top of the FBI for political reasons, the line between governance and personal vendetta blurs, and that line is not supposed to blur. Kash Patel, backed now openly by Trump, is a figure people either love or hate, but the point isn't about him. It's about what this signals for the country. It signals that loyalty might matter more than competence, that allegiance might matter more than law, and that political gamesmanship can infiltrate the very core of national security. And we are supposed to just shrug and accept that? No, we can't. Every time a story like this breaks, I feel this frustration boiling up. The headlines scream it in bold: Trump backs Kash Patel after considering ousting FBI director. And people will debate whether it's good or bad, but it's not just a matter of opinion, it's about principle. It's about whether the institutions meant to protect us are becoming pawns in a larger political chess game. And what happens next? We have people on both sides screaming, pundits dissecting every angle, but meanwhile, the foundation of our government's credibility erodes just a little more. It's infuriating because the consequences are real. The trust, once broken, isn't easily rebuilt. The absurdity of the situation is what's maddening. We are expected to believe that everything is fine, that nothing is being politicized, while behind closed doors, considerations like firing the FBI director over personal or political dissatisfaction are casually entertained. This isn't some minor bureaucratic reshuffling. This is the top of the nation's law enforcement, the people tasked with protecting citizens from the very threats that politicians often claim to be against. And suddenly, decisions at the highest level are being influenced by loyalty tests and political calculations. It's almost laughable if it weren't so terrifying. Every time a name like Kash Patel surfaces, every time a report like this leaks, it chips away at the idea that our leaders are above such scheming. And the worst part, it's normalized. And here's the kicker: Trump backing Patel doesn't calm the storm. It fans the flames. It sends a signal that the consideration of such drastic action wasn't wrong, that loyalty to the administration is rewarded, that institutional independence is negotiable. And we sit here watching while the institutions we rely on are reduced to chess pieces in a game whose rules keep changing depending on who's in power. And the anger isn't just political, it's personal. We rely on these institutions. We trust them to operate above politics, and every time a move like this happens, that trust erodes. What are we supposed to tell the next generation? That politics trumps law, that loyalty matters more than justice, that chaos is the new normal? It's maddening, absolutely maddening. And it's not a one-off. This is part of a larger pattern, a trend that's been growing, accelerating. We see it over and over. Decisions made not on merit, not on law, not on public safety, but on who's in favor, who's aligned, who's loyal. And the implications aren't abstract, they're tangible. Confidence in the FBI, confidence in the rule of law, confidence in the idea that the government works for its citizens, not for political games, all of it takes a hit. And yet, somehow, the cycle repeats, stories get buried, and the outrage feels temporary. But it shouldn't be. This matters. It matters every single day. You want to feel real anger? Consider what this actually means for governance. If the president can consider ousting the FBI director because of loyalty or dissatisfaction, if backing someone like Kash Patel becomes a political statement rather than an administrative choice, then the system itself starts to fracture. The checks and balances, the supposed independence of our institutions, the protections built over decades, they start to look fragile. And fragile is dangerous. We need strong institutions, not institutions bending under the weight of political whims. And yet, Here we are, angry, frustrated, watching the headlines, knowing that these aren't just stories, they're warnings. And the audacity of it all. The sheer nerve to publicly back someone who's a loyalist in the midst of such a controversy. It's bold, yes, but reckless, infuriating, and destabilizing. It's like a punch in the gut for anyone who cares about impartial governance. People who dedicate their lives to law enforcement, to protecting citizens, to investigating crime and corruption, are suddenly put in the position of wondering if their careers, their authority, their independence could be compromised simply because a political figure wants a friend or ally in power. And it doesn't stop there. The message is loud and clear: follow loyalty or face consequences. And when it happens at the top, at the level of the FBI, what hope do ordinary citizens have that justice will remain fair? And don't get me started on the symbolism. This isn't just one report, one headline. It represents a culture where political calculations can override principles, a culture where the rules that are supposed to protect institutions from interference are treated as suggestions rather than laws. And the public sees this, and they should be outraged, because this isn't politics as usual. This is politics overriding governance, and that's terrifying. Every time we see a story like this, we need to recognize the threat it represents, the precedent it sets, the consequences it carries. I'm angry because this is about trust, about integrity, about systems designed to function above partisanship. And every day, the headlines scream a new warning. The line between politics and justice is blurred, and people are okay with it. People act like it's normal, like it's business as usual, like it doesn't matter. But it does matter. It matters because trust, once lost, is almost impossible to restore. It matters because the very foundations of governance, of law enforcement, of checks and balances are at stake. And this headline, Trump backs Kash Patel after report that he considered ousting FBI director, is a stark reminder that the erosion is ongoing, that the battle for integrity is far from over. Every citizen should be angry. Every journalist should be amplifying this. Every analyst should be dissecting the implications, because the consequences aren't abstract, they are very real. The independence of law enforcement, the credibility of investigations, the confidence the public has in the rule of law, every single one of these is impacted by the thought, the consideration, the potential action to remove the FBI director for reasons unrelated to competence. And the support of Patel? It solidifies the idea that loyalty outweighs principle, and that should infuriate everyone. And let me tell you, it's not just about the FBI director. This is about the message it sends to every agency, every department, every employee in government. Follow political loyalty or risk being sidelined. Align with power or be at the mercy of political whims. And when that's the environment, can anyone really trust that decisions are made for the right reasons? Can anyone believe that justice, security, and law are truly being upheld? The answer is no, not without scrutiny, not without accountability, not without public pressure. And yet, there's a strange calmness from some quarters, a willingness to accept these headlines as just another day in politics. But they are not just another day. They are a threat to the principles that the country was built on. They are a warning sign that institutions can be manipulated, that political loyalty can override law, and that public trust can be eroded almost casually. And that's why the anger is justified. That's why the tone must be aggressive. That's why we cannot sit quietly while headlines like this dominate the news cycle. Because if we do, the precedent is set. If we do, the message is loud and clear. Loyalty trumps law. Power trumps principle. Political expediency trumps justice. And then, when the consequences come, when institutions falter, when trust is broken, we'll all be left wondering how it happened. And the answer is in headlines like this one. The answer is in the thought, the consideration, the backing of a loyalist at the expense of independence. And that is infuriating. We cannot sugarcoat it. We cannot pretend it's acceptable. We must recognize it for what it is, a dangerous signal to the nation, to institutions, to employees, and to the public. It's a warning, a wake-up call, a reminder that the mechanisms designed to protect us are only effective if those in power respect them. And this news story screams that some people in power do not. And that is the very reason we should be angry, aggressive in our response, and demanding accountability. And here's the reality. Headlines like Trump backs Kash Patel after report that he considered ousting the FBI director are not isolated incidents. They're symptomatic of a broader problem, a culture where political loyalty is rewarded, where institutional independence is questioned, and where the rules designed to prevent abuse of power are treated as malleable. And that's why this story resonates, why it angers, and why it matters. Because it's not just a person, it's a principle. And the principle is being tested, threatened, and potentially undermined. The public has a right to be angry. The press has a duty to highlight it. And citizens have a responsibility to understand the consequences. Because this isn't just news, it's a warning, a snapshot of a system under stress, and a call to vigilance. And until the principles of independence, fairness, and accountability are respected, until the public sees that loyalty will not override law, headlines like this will continue to infuriate, and the aggressive tone is not only justified, it's necessary.